Let's take a time machine back to 2017. Watch this video and you'll know what I mean. Hey, what's up, everybody? Las Vegas housing market. Travel through time. A travel through time. That's what we're going to do. Would you have bought a home in 2017? Did you buy a home in 2017? Most did not and would not. Most of you did not buy in 2017 and would not. Why is that? But 2017 was a big turning point for the real estate market in Las Vegas, Nevada. And a lot of people talk about 2020 as the big shift. I know I do all the time. That certainly is a marker down for when things changed a lot. There was a lot of change at that time, of course. And even going back to the very last month of 2011 and January of 2012, those would be marker down times that I talk about quite a bit, because obviously we had come out of the Great Recession at that time. And from there, the market bottomed in January of 2012 and then took off. We just took off. I mean, it didn't go crazy, but it definitely never went back down near where those lows were. And eventually it went crazy. I would say certainly interest rates had a lot to do with that. They were low, certainly a lot lower than they are now. But in 2017, I'm going to show you some numbers that might be surprising. 2017 was really a marker down. And why does it matter to you right now? Because this shift that happened then may be similar to what's happening now. It had its different reasons, but I think when I take a look at 2017, there are some things that stick out that, well, we may be facing something similar, and let's get into it. Let's find out what I mean. Real estate does tend to repeat, and I do see a pattern here, and I'm going to point it out. Most people predict the market crisis. They predict the market crash. I want to predict something the opposite right now, and that is that we are in a softening period at this moment. Certainly inventory is going up, but what will we see on the horizon? What do I see? That's what we're going to get into. I've got the numbers, so let's dive into them. I'm going to start in January of 2017. This, what is definitely not the same now, is median list price, as you see there, $275,000. Now it's like over a $500,000. The median list price, of course. Okay. Right now we are sitting at about 10,400 properties on market. So in 2025, we have 7,432 single-family properties available. It's amazing how much more was on the market in 2017. March of 2017, and this is where we had a top for the market. This is the single-family top since 2017. We have not seen this number. 11,185 total on-market single-family residents in 2017. Okay, from here, there was a change. Something happened that as time went on, every month the inventory got lower and lower, so much so that let's take a look at what happened in December. December, all the way down to 7,508. And of course, right now we are at 7,432. By 2018, what they say is that it was happening, and I remember this well, there was decreased new construction. Existing homeowners were reluctant to sell because many of these people had bought in the last 5 years, or were holding on to their properties even prior to the crash. And so they weren't really excited to sell at that time, but yet buyer demand was strong. It was stronger, and it was pulling more inventory off the market. The sellers, especially, you start rounding the corner on late in the year. This is what I always say. It's like, less inventory as we go into December, January months, but really pulling down that inventory because, well, the homeowners weren't excited to sell at that time. The buyer demand was picking up, but I mean, all of us would go back to 2017 and buy as much real estate as possible, let alone even sooner than that. So what we were seeing was a housing shortage. Okay, that housing shortage has not stopped. We never stopped having a housing shortage. and it got a lot worse in 2020. Something else I wanted to note was the solds. The number of units sold in January of 2017, 2144, 2,144. Where are we today? In May, 2,087. So not far off. This is why when people talk about a crash, 2017 is not noted as a bad year in real estate. It just isn't. So when you look at January, okay, pretty low sales. Of course, that was a seasonal time. You're going to see lower sales there. Let's see what was happening on the sales in December. December of 2017 actually went up 2619. And folks, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen, especially if rates change here. Once rates change, the game is going to be a different game. So I just really believe buyers, you got to be ready. You got to be looking at what you're trying to get right now and seeing if you can grab a deal. I've been saying that over and over because I do think that once things balance out, it's going to be, well, it'll be more even. Sellers aren't going to be as willing to give you a deal, but maybe you'll have a better interest rate and that'll make things easier to buy. I don't know. I think right now is not a bad time, really. It's wild that after the last few years that we've had and so much surging was going on, and now suddenly the brakes are being put on when you actually can get a deal out there. Now, I do know and understand that some people are just priced out of the market, and that is a big factor. But if you are in the market, boy, you really should be getting on your horse right now. If you can afford to buy a house right now, I think that you will thank me later in the long run. So folks, remember that the median price in January 2017 was $242,000, and now we are at $480,000. I know I just said, hey, great buyer's market, right? Yes, the prices are the reason why it's hard, but it's also the reason why if you are able to get into this market, it is a great time for you because, well, there's just not a lot of competition. I do believe when things get more affordable for people, the number one reason will be the interest rates, of course, and that will be when sellers feel a little bit more confident. So the total on market as of today, we have eclipsed 10,426. That is total on market. It is not just single family residence. So take that into consideration. I would say, even by the fact that we're moving, what we are, which is only about 2,000 properties sold last month, I would still say that being at 10,042 overall on market is not emergency territory. I think that if we see the same volume and we get up over 11,000, that's getting a little uncomfortable there. But still, taking a look back at numbers in a time that we did not think of real estate as being a big problem and looking at them now, really not a lot to freak out about. Very quickly, I will take a look with you at this this is my multi-view here for right now. So what we're seeing is new listings coming on, staying very steady, about just under 1,100. My last update was that number as well. Back on market's been roughly the same, about 200. And price decreases still up there, okay? Nearly 1,200 in the price decrease category. Folks, the price decreases are going to continue. They're just going to continue. The sellers that want to sell, which when you think about it, you got 10,400 properties on the market, and about 1,200 of them are lowering their price. That's your pool where you want to really get a deal done at, okay? There are sellers that want and need to sell right now, but the majority are probably going to hold pretty firm. Some of them are going to do what as you can see, has been done here. You have withdrawals. I've been seeing more withdrawn, as I've noted in my past videos, more withdrawn. We got 302 plus withdrawal conditional 90. So, we're seeing those people that are just not interested in selling right now, they're going ahead and pulling their properties off the market. The solds are remaining relatively low, so I expect next month's number to reflect that. Also, under contract, show and no show, staying about the same, maybe actually dipping down just slightly. So we're getting into that time of year. It's past springtime. We are going to slow down just a little bit. Summer is usually pretty hot still in Las Vegas. But overall, I'm seeing that, the normal trend, which is that not that the brakes get hit, but we're going to slow down, and that's what we're doing a little bit. So we'll keep track of that. Now, last thing I'll note is price increases. I have seen them up over 100 for the last couple of weeks. In the 7-day average here. This is I'm gonna do a video about it. I gotta go in depth about it. So expect a video from me about why sellers increase their price even when it's a buyer's market, heavily tilted to a buyer's market. Why would they do that? Well, we'll talk about it on my next video. Thank you for joining me here. When you need house help, you have HAU's help. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'd love to hear from you. So if you got anything to tell me about this video or what you'd like to see ahead, I would love to hear from you. So last request, have a great week, everybody. See you on the next video.